Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Another tremendous video of Banish the Doubt. Today, I want to talk about the law of assumption. First of all, this is a book. If you have any ideas or any assumptions, anything that you want to do, be or have that you haven't been able to create so far in your life, that book right there, The Power of Assumption, is a fantastic book to read, as is this book right here, As a Man Thinketh. And a third book, Feeling is the Secret. I want to start off with the book, however, Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. And if I can get to the page, I'm hoping I can find that page again, where he talked about okay, I may not find it exactly here, but he talked about, well, he says here, thoughts are like goldfish in a bowl. The real self is like the water. The real self is the space between the thoughts, or more exactly, the field of silent awareness underneath all thoughts. Some of the things for us to banish from our thinking. 1, we only deserve things through hard work, struggle, sacrifice, and effort. 2, suffering is beneficial and good for us. No pain, no gain, right? Where have you heard that before? 3, we don't get anything for nothing. Well, we've heard that before, right? You got to go out there and slave. You got to work. You got to earn it. 4, things that are very simple aren't worth much. How many times have we heard that before as well? Letting go of some of these psychological barriers to the technique itself will allow an enjoyment of its effortlessness and ease. Okay, so I didn't find that part in there that he talks about one of the big fears of the world is for us to learn about ourselves, for us to be free. Because if we're free, right, we're not under the constraints of those who want to control us, to manipulate us. Can't have that. We got to be able to be people who can be controlled. So we can't be teaching kids in school no such thing as hard work, no such thing as earn it. You got to be a slave to the grind. Can't teach kids that, right? Law of attraction is how I'm going to transition into this, okay? And by the way, just as an aside, you notice that all 3 books, Letting Go, Dr. Hawkins, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen, Feeling is a Secret, and Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. I don't know about you, and I've been out of school for a little while, but I don't remember any one of those books ever being required reading. There's a reason for that. Okay? Now, the power or the law of attraction. What we think about has frequency, has vibration, okay? And what we're thinking about here tracks to it thoughts just like it. It has that frequency. So like attracts like, okay? So as we have these thoughts, okay, more thoughts of the same frequency come together. We start building. They start building on one another, okay? It starts down here. We start building and building and building. Circumstances start to take place. Those types of people who have those same types of thoughts come to us. It's why when we're at a job, we typically hang around with or we're attracted to people who think like us. Guys, right? The football team, the basketball season, the NFL draft's coming up soon. Hockey is getting in, baseball starting up. Like attracts like. Same with the women, right? Some ladies like that as well. Some ladies, they're more home life and whatever it is. Another thing too is law of attraction. By the way, don't one of the other things not to do, we heard about in the book Letting Go, comparison. It's so easy to get caught up in this. I'm comparing myself to others. It's all around us today, right? Facebook and TikTok and the others, Instagram and all that. These are sanitized versions of people. right? So we don't want to compare. Comparison is the thief of our joy. So the law of attraction. We start to attract thoughts that are like those other thoughts. We start to attract more of those kind of thoughts. They start to create momentum. Circumstances start to pop up. Situations start to take place. Um, we start to develop strong beliefs because of these thoughts that we have going on in us, in our mind. And if you notice news today, when I was growing up, I was a little boy. It was, I think, 3, 4 channels, 2, 4, 7. I don't think Channel 5 was even around. 2, 4, 7, and that was it. 9 and 5. The news was just in the afternoon at 6 o'clock, and I think 11 o'clock. Mom and Dad watched that. Then all of a sudden it was 10 o'clock, and then it was 5 o'clock, and then it was now it's 24/7. So it starts to suck you in, right? This team versus this team, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, and even more beyond that. If you guys find yourself involved in that, get out. Doesn't mean you can't watch and sort of kind of watch from the sidelines, if you will, just sort of observe, but don't get sucked in. It's very tempting to get sucked into all that. Start to look at, and now going along with the law of attraction, um, these types of thoughts. So if you start getting into that, they start to show up in your circumstances. You start getting um, conversations on Facebook and others. I mean, it's gotten to the point where, right? I mean, they talk about around the holidays, families can't even get together anymore. Why? Because we get so entrenched in these thoughts, this law of attraction. We start to our side versus your side. That leads to, that's why it's called dis-ease. So an example of this would be, let's say you say, I don't like my body. And then you start to bring up other thoughts of, I don't like the way I look in this dress or in these clothes. I don't like the way I look in the mirror. These thoughts start to build. I don't like the way people look at me. These thoughts start to build upon themselves, which leads to eventually, I can't do anything right. I'm worthless, which eventually leads to I'm in the hospital because the thoughts start to build on one another. Okay, and they start to just come up, and they create momentum. That's why it's called a disease. You end up with a disease. I know in my life, it wasn't so much of that. It was comparison a lot. A lot of what do they think? What are they gonna think? If I ask the girl out, she says no, something's wrong with me. It's not just that she didn't want to go out. Of course, I'm older now and I think that, but back at the time, right? If they said no, then it must have been something about me. If they broke up with me, it's got to be something about me. It can't be about them. So these types of thoughts, we start to build. We start to really create a lot of negative energy within our bodies, which is why we end up with this. What some of us end up in a disease. So we start to become more aware of that. Now, for a lot of us, what ends up happening is we get the disease, and only then do we say, okay, we got to course correct here. So we start to understand and start to learn that, well, if I can have the same type of attraction and these types of thoughts, and they build on each other, and these circumstances start to take place in my life through negative thinking, is the same true for positive thinking. If by our thoughts we can make ourselves sick, can the same thoughts make ourselves healthy? Yes. If you ever want to read any Dr. Joe Dispenza's books, You Are the Placebo, Break in the Habit of Being Yourself, you'll actually see case studies of people who actually thought themselves. Louise Hay is another one. The Power of Positive Thinking is another book of what you can actually think yourself well. You learn that the greatest pharmacy in the world, guys, is our body. Now, again, schools aren't going to teach us that, right? Because too much money to be made in the pharmaceutical industry. You can't have people out there thinking, well, I can, if I become really disciplined, I could think myself ill, but then I could think myself power of positive thinking. Well, we can't have that. We got to have you guys, taking all these pills. The older you get, the more pills you take in some cases. So earlier today, I made a video and I talked about what Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about. And he said, most people today, the average person lives anywhere from 85 to 90 to maybe 95 years of age, probably closer to the 80, 85. But here's the key. Do you want to live for those 85 or 90 years? I mean, truly live those years? Or are you going to live the same year 85 times over, or not 87 or 90 or 95 times over? And how many of us live that way? Get out of the bed at the same side, go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, we go downstairs, have roughly pretty much the same breakfast. We go to work, take the same route to work, see the same people. They push the same emotional buttons. We check our email, check our social media, right? I mean, is this ringing any bells with you guys? You come home, watch the news maybe, or take a look and see what's going on. You watch your same favorite programs, sporting events, guys. Go to bed, wake up, do the same thing all over again the next day. 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, 90% of which are the same as the previous day. That's been scientifically proven. By age 35, it has also been scientifically proven that we are a memorized set of emotional reactions, hardwired behaviors, thoughts, and perceptions. By age 35, it's hardwired into us. It's why when it's the 25th or 30th high school reunion, you're like, whoa, 20 years, 30 years already? It feels like it was like a couple of years ago. It's like that. Because we're so ingrained. We are what they used to call in the olden days, stuck in their, or set in their ways, right? Stuck in their ways, set in their ways. So how can we then turn this around and create the life where we live each year? Live it, fully live it each day. We live each year by living each month, by living each week, by living each day, by living each moment. We become conscious of the moment that we're in. We get to the point where, and some people in this world live this way, where it's not Monday and it's not Friday, it's not happy hour, although those things exist and you can still enjoy them, but it's not hump day on Wednesday. It's none of that. Every day is Friday. Okay, it's not 5 o'clock somewhere. Every day is I wake up and I'm full of vigor and energy and excitement to go after the day. I'm so grateful. We develop an attitude of gratitude. We start to attract those types of thoughts, that type of thinking. We start to marry and conjoin those types of thoughts of positive thinking and can-do attitudes, and we see ourselves as achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve. Maybe we're a little older and first time in our life we want to write a book. We see the book as being finished and we're a published author. We want to be an actress or an actor. We see ourselves standing on stage, acting and being an actress or singer. We see ourselves standing or singing. You see yourself doing this where maybe before you were a little reluctant. We start to have those types of thoughts and we attract to us more of those types of thoughts. Okay? We start to see yourself as what Neville Goddard talked about here in the Power of Awareness book. Here's what he said about this effortless way. We talk about no hard work, right? With Dr. Hawkins, he said, the day you fully realize the power of assumption, you discover that it works in complete conformity with this principle. It works by means of attention minus effort. Thus, with least action, through an assumption, you hurry without haste and reach your goal without effort. Because creation is finished, which it is, what you desire already exists. It is excluded from your view because you can see only the contents of your own consciousness. Law of attraction. So we've been thinking those negative thoughts. Now we start thinking the positive, can-do thoughts, the power of assumption. I am doing that. I already am that person. I've already accomplished whatever it is we're seeking out to accomplish. It is the function of an assumption to call back the excluded view and restore full vision. It is not the world, but your assumption that changes. It has never been the world. The ego says they have to change in order for me to be happy. The ego says when this condition changes, then I'll feel fulfilled. The ego says, well, I'm thinking this and I'm looking out and I don't see any results yet. It's like, listen to this. If you can hear that, that represents like water dropping on a stone. We all know if the water is left to drop one drop at a time, eventually the stone's going to break. The ego says, yeah, but how long is that going to take, right? That's the ego talking. That's the yeah, buts within us. But the you don't understands. We get rid of all that. We take on an attitude, an assumption, an attraction that there is no failure. There's only lessons. We take on the mindset that there are no problems, only just different ways to figure out and learn and extract the positive. We take on the mindset there are no stop signs in this life. They're just detours around perceived challenges. This is the type of attraction because our awareness is expanding. We're starting to notice this. We start to notice that whenever somebody says something that used to get us upset and have us react, we now respond. We understand that this world will take place around us regardless, but we take this approach to the world from this point forward. We deny the evidence of the senses. That's what we can see and what we can hear. And we assume the feeling of whatever it is, the wish that we have, as already being fulfilled. We start to look at ourselves. We start to appreciate ourselves. We look in the mirror and we say, I appreciate you. I love you. You are enough. You are worthy. We even use our own name. We start to look at our finances. If we're having struggles in that area, challenges, not problems, but challenges, we say, this too will pass. I see this bill being paid. I see my bank account overflowing with money. We take on assumption or affirmations such as, I am so thankful now that money now comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a consistent basis. Passive aggressive income. We don't go get the money. We generate. We attract the money. Okay, we attract the relationship. We don't go into an opportunity, we grow into an opportunity. The job then we attract the position to us, the promotion, we attract it to us. Okay, we attract to us the relationship, the guy or the girl. So we start to have this type of a mentality, this type of a mindset of yes, everything in my life always works out for me. My life is always working in harmonious relationship with my thoughts. It always has, guys. It always has. If you find yourself in a challenging situation, stop right there and say, okay, I understand that my previous conscious behaviors led me to this, but I know that my new conscious behaviors are going to lead me away from it and attract more positives into my life. We accept where we're at. We look at past events in our life and we get rid of our past history. Okay, we sever the past history. We understand it's there. We understand we had to come through it. Why? Well, because we did, but we let it go. We decouple the emotional attachments to them. We understand they're there. That is wisdom. Wisdom is understanding that the memories are there, but the emotional attachment is no longer attached there. We don't have the emotional attachment to it anymore. We only see ourselves where we are right now, and we assume right now that we are that person that we have always envisioned. It's always been there, but maybe we couldn't see it before. Now we can see it. We get that feeling inside of us. We do this tapping. Okay, These are our thoughts, our positive thoughts every single day. It's a compounding effect. So this is how, with the law of attraction, we utilize the law of attraction in a positive, uplifting, healthier way. I am so thankful for each and every one of you for viewing these videos. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell so you can get all of my videos. Share down below if you feel so inclined to maybe some challenges you have gone through, you're going through now, that maybe this video and other videos like these have started to change your perception, and maybe you can share some success stories in some areas where you started to notice changes, serendipitous circumstances started taking place, circumstances started to change, people start showing up, because they will. People are going to start showing up in your life. People have already been there, have been there. They are there right now. We're just taking the blinders off. Okay, we're starting to fog. It's starting to lift. This is what takes place in your life. I am a living example of that. I've traversed through the old stinking thinking, ended up in a spot where I had a disease for a few years, but I've come out of it now, and I have much more awareness. My life is so much more fruitful and beneficial and abundant in so many different ways. Abundance is not just money, guys. It is in so many just rich relationships, and different things in your life will start to happen. I thank you so much for watching these videos. Until I see you again, God bless, and keep being an attractor of positive into your life.